What is going on all? It's Hadex Gaming here with Necesse update version 0.22, the Fallen Gateway, Adventure Parties, Mana and much more update. This is the major update that is adding a ton of new game mechanics, features and content, including 2 new biomes. So without further ado, let's jump into the update notes. So here we go. I just zoomed out. All right, let's zoom back in. Okay. A quick reminder before the update is when using mods, it is a good idea to back up your saves. This is crazy important. So if you are experiencing problems, you can still switch to an older version of the game by going to your Steam library, right-clicking Necesse, Properties, Betas, selecting the version, and then closing the window, and you will see it downloading the previous version. Make sure to do this because if something does go wrong, at least you will have that backup. But let's jump in. Let's just get that warning out of the way. So, hey everyone, it's been a while since the last update. I am sorry for the delays on this one, but it's finally out now, and other than a bunch of new features, it will be the start of a new endgame system that will be added to in coming updates as well. This one has been a long time coming, and I plan to get back to more frequent but smaller updates again. So if you didn't already know, it was usually like a small update every month. And then with this update, it kind of took, I think, like 3 months to come out, which is fine because there's a ton of new content. Like, as you can see, like I'm just scrolling for ages, so we'll get into all that a bit later. I will, of course, as always, keep a close eye on all feedback and likely do some hot fixes and tweaks between the updates to keep everything fun. With that all said, let's get into the updates. First up is the T's new endgame system. The Fallen Wizard, so the final boss, now, well, what used to be the final boss isn't anymore probably. The Fallen Wizard now drops a tablet that is used to craft an altar, which will then give you access to this new system. Unfortunately, after many iterations, I couldn't get gear upgrading to a place I was happy with without a ton of extra work. So this will also come in a future update. Probably next update, maybe the update after maybe. I don't know how big that'll be, but I want to see more of that as well. Currently, there are 2 mission types and 2 new biomes, each with new bosses and a bunch of new weapons and gear. This will be expanded in future updates, and a lot of time has been spent on building systems that support a diverse set of biomes, missions, and new zone mechanics. Interesting. You can now ask your settlers to join your adventure party. That's insane. So here you can see there's someone in mycelium armor, and then he's got 2 settlers, probably guards in tungsten armor, in the swamp biome, which is crazy. So you can now ask your settlers to join your adventure party. Doing so will make them follow you anywhere you go, including in caves and other biomes, which is amazing. So you can take them from like the deep caves to maybe the new portal realms. But we'll have to see. Your adventure party will need food to stay active, and they will use potions you give them access to. Awesome. So if you give them maybe buff potions as well as like health potions, I don't know if they've got cooldown for health potions, like we get like a 30-second delay before we can use a health potion if they do, but we'll see how it works. I've balanced it so you will encounter slightly more enemies and bosses will have slightly more health the more settlers you bring. So if you go solo, regular amount. If you get 1, probably 2 times. If you bring 2, probably 3 times, and so on. This also makes guard settlers more useful since they have more base health and movement speed than the other settlers. Because it'd be kind of pointless to bring like the fisherman to go hunting with you. Maybe the hunter will be a good settler to take with you because he's got that ranged thing going for him. Adding support for settlers on other islands took a lot of work, but I am excited that this can now also be used for other features. Awesome. So that'll probably spice up raids in the future as well. I'm going to quickly swap over. This is a GIF, but I'm just scrolling through an image right now. So if I click this, you can see here that he's got a new weapon. It's like the Reaper's Call has been changed maybe. And then he's got two guards in tungsten armor in the swamp, and then also a new pink ore. I don't know if that's mycelium with the treasure potion or if it's a new type of ore, but we'll have to see once we jump in, because I'm pretty sure there's new types of trinkets, there's new ores, there's new armor, things like that. So that could be something new. Let's jump back. Mana weapons have been rebalanced and now consume mana. All magic gear also got a balance pass, and new trinkets and potions have been introduced to help with your mana generation. I know this can be a controversial change, and I'll keep a close eye on the balance of this to still keep it fun. Interesting, and powerful to play magic damage. Okay, so similar to like Terraria, when you use magic, your magic goes down. So there may be a trinket that'll auto regen your magic. Otherwise, there'll be a ton of trinkets to like boost it more. I imagine it now hits harder, but then you got to balance it better, which is the downside or the playoff to it. So here you can see he's in, I was going to say a crypt, but this looks too big to be a crypt. I'd say it's the new biome. As you can see, there's giant bats. And here, real quick, you'll see that there's a blue 240 that pops up right here. There you go. So that'll be him automatically gaining 240 mana back, which is crazy. This new weapon looks insane too. Also, there's a, oh, so it's a vampire now, just an enemy. Everyone thought it was maybe like a cosmetic or a boss or something, or a settler even. But turns out they're just bats. They're just vampires, like actual vampires now. That's insane. Oh, also there's a greater mana potion. Did I see that right? Let's see. Ready? Yeah, it's a greater mana potion. Awesome. All right, let's jump back. Some of the other features and changes in this update include a new miner settler you can send on mining trips, similar to the angler's fishing trips, which is insane because now you can send them to go mining for you. You can send them out to go get ores probably, or certain types of stone, which is crazy. Added a cartographer table, which is what I suggested. It was in one of my suggestions because I was like, an easy way to work around the multiplayer map sharing is have a cartographer table where you all come together and then you combine your maps, so what you've explored updates for, say, your friend that you're playing with. So if you explore to the west and someone explores to the east and you come back and meet in the middle, it'll like update the entire map. So the cartographer table you can now use to share map discoveries with other players. Added 11 new original soundtracks throughout the game. That probably 11 is how many current bosses there were, but I'm assuming one of them already had a unique one. The Evil's Protector had a unique one. So 10 new, probably for 10 bosses, and then one extra one maybe for the new area or like a new biome. Islands now generate much more naturally with interesting shapes. Interesting. I want to see how that works. I wonder if there's like some like Easter egg shapes, or like some seeds will have like crazy shapes. Added another tier of health and buff potions, which is what you can see in this picture up the top here, like a greater mana potion here. Buff icons are now placed on the right side of your health bar instead of under it. I don't think any of the things showed it there. But that's really cool because having it underneath you, like it blocked too much of the screen. So now it's off to the side, which is amazing. An earlier version of Zephyr boots are now available straight from the beginning. Interesting, because finding Zephyr boots at the start was kind of like a downside. Everyone was saying like you walk too slow at the start of the game. So now if you get them at the beginning, it kind of introduces trinkets and things like that. So when a proper tutorial comes out, maybe they'll be included. Recruiting new settlers are now no longer limited by the amount of settlers without a bed. Interesting. So does that mean... That probably means now you can just have as many homeless settlers as you want in your town. Settlers will now get the buff from the foods they eat. Interesting. So depending on what foods you give them, if you're just giving them coffee, expect them to run around like crazy headless chickens. Otherwise, if you're giving them other things, then they'll get those boosts. Which also means when you take them out on raids and out into other biomes with you, then they'll get those buffs. So if you give them all lemon tarts, they're all going to get armor penetration, which means they're going to deal a ton of damage. This is crazy. Old vinyls can now be found in cave ruin chests, and a bunch of other changes and fixes. You can read the full changelog below. Some other exciting news is that the team has now grown from just Fair to one other developer and 2 new artists. I'll be getting another developer on board soon as well. This took a bunch of time out of development to find the right people, but I think it's the right call to support future updates in the long run and bring some improved graphics beyond my own art skills. This means it's no longer a solo game, and I'm excited to see where that can take us. Hooded Horse has taken over publishing part of Necesse, which means more time will be freed up for making updates instead of being spent on marketing. In the future, they may help out with community stuff like setting up events as well. I've been looking for a publisher like that for a while, and I think Hooded Horse is the perfect fit. You can check out the Hooded Horse Steam page for all the other games. I'll be sure to link that in the description below. Huge shout out to Hooded Horse as well. I've looked at a couple of their games and I would love to play a few of those ones as well. But I'll link them down in the description below, and thank you to them for helping Fair create this game. Also to the 2 new artists and the developer, thank you a ton. Welcome aboard. I'm excited to see how well the team goes. And maybe even play with you guys in the future, if that's even a possibility for me. So thank you for all the patience and keep giving that feedback. Fair. So here there's another GIF, so I'll click over to that one. Interesting. So it looks like he's in a new slime armor, new slime magic weapon maybe, and then a giant slime boss. I don't know if you can see that past my head there, but that looks like a giant slime boss, and there's a purple portal, which is interesting because that must be the entrance to that biome. This could be the new biome that we've seen. But let's swap back, and then all the additions and changes, I'll just quickly like fly through these. There could be some spoilers in here, so if you're not wanting to hear spoilers of what has been added and what hasn't, thank you for sticking through this already, and I hope you enjoy this update as much as I will be. But if you want to stick around and see all the nitty-gritty bits of the update, keep watching. So 0.22 changelog additions. Added the ability for settlers to follow you on adventures, we've seen that one. Added a new mana system, we've seen. Added a chat command to change the settler job search range. So before, settlers would reach in like a 75 tile radius. It's now been changed by default to 100, so an extra 25 range. But now I think there's a chat command so that you can give it maybe like an infinite range. Or maybe if you wanted to make it worse for yourself, like a 1 range if you wanted to. I don't know. But that's awesome. Added the attack speed tooltip to boomerangs and other throwables. Because now you can see what's actually what actually affects boomerangs, because the range projectile velocity didn't actually affect boomerangs, believe it or not. Added the Fallen Gateway tablet from the Fallen Wizard. Added a Fallen Gateway crafted after the Fallen Wizard. Okay, interesting. So there's a tablet and the gateway. Added the ability for levels to have modifiers like enemy health, spawn rate, etc. So that must be, you go into the portal and then it gives you like a level or like tiered difficulty, like a level 5 enemy or a level 10 boss or something. I think that's what that means. Added incursions, a new type of biome you can visit. Interesting. Added 2 incursion biomes, each with their own crafting materials, enemies, and bosses. Added essence, crafting materials dropped incursion. Added essence, crafting materials dropped from incursion bosses. Okay, so that'll be used for new armor and probably the superior health potions and stuff. Added the Fallen Alchemy Table crafting station. Awesome. So that'll be needed to make greater potions so that you can't skip content. Like you can't just go from regular health potions to like these greater or superior ones straight away. You need to beat the Fallen Wizard to obtain them. Added superior health and mana potions. Added 11 different greater buff potions. So that'll be like your greater resistance, your greater knockback, like all those ones. Added the ability for teams to be public for anyone to join. Added the ability for people to request to join a non-public team. Added a teams and PvP button to the pause menu when playing multiplayer. That is great because it means you can toggle PvP on and off, you can turn on teams, all sorts of things. Added a minor settler found in caves after Evil's Protector. So he is going to be a really cool one to get early. You beat the first boss, the Evil's Protector. If he even is still the first boss. I'm assuming he is. I think all the new bosses are late game or end game. And the minor then you can take with you on your journey. Added a cartographer table crafted at a regular workstation. Makes sense. Added worm carapace material dropped by sandworms. Added carapace dagger crafted at advanced workstations. And added a carapace shield crafted at advanced workstations. So carapace would be, instead of ancient fossil, it would be carapace stuff. I don't know how to pronounce it or if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's at an advanced workstation, which leads me to believe it is the deep desert materials. Added a summoner version of ancient fossil armor set crafted at advanced workstation. So that is the carapace and worm stuff. So that is the ancient fossil version for summoners, which is huge because summoners didn't really get anything before then. So that's really nice. Added 2 slime armor sets crafted at new workstation. So that's after endgame. So slime armor was endgame armor, I'm guessing. Added a slime greatsword, slime glaive, slime staff, all from the Fallen workstation. Added gelatin casings crafted at Fallen workstation. So I'm assuming the gelatin casings are casings for bullets. By the sounds of things, you use the slime on a bullet and then maybe it makes it bouncier. Added 4 Night Steel armor sets crafted at new workstation. So the fact that there's 4 armor sets probably means mage, range, melee, summon, which would be probably the true in-game armor set that you would want. Added the Night Razor crafted at Fallen Workstation, Night Piercer, Phantom Popper, and Phantom Caller. They must be 2 summon weapons by the names. Maybe the Popper is range and Phantom Caller is summon. I don't know. That sounds like a passive summon weapon to me. Added normal and greater mana potions. Wicked. Added mana regen potions, which is awesome. Added a Dreamcatcher trinket. Probably, and a Nightmare Talisman trinket. Crafted at Demonic Workstation. So there's a regular workstation and then Demonic. I'm assuming it is a combination of Dreamcatcher and the other talisman one for the Nightmare Talisman. And it'll probably just be like mana regen. Added a spare gemstone trinket found in snow caves. A spellstone trinket crafted at Advanced Workstation. So that's probably the gemstone and a spell something or other for the advanced one. Added a Siphon Shield trinket found in Deep Snow Caves. So we could get a new shield. Added a magic variation to Frost and Ivy armor. Awesome. Added Sparkler magic weapon crafted at the Iron Anvil, which is early game weapon. So mages now have access to another early game weapon because everyone was just rushing for that genie lamp. They're like, spawn in, raid the pirate village, get the genie lamp, be done with magic until endgame. Added Leather Dashers trinket found at the starter house or crafted at workstations, which is huge because the Leather Dashers would be the Zephyr boots early one. So the one that they were saying, they mentioned earlier about like Zephyr boots will now be found late game and then Leather Dashers are found at the beginning. Added the Zephyr Charm trinket found in Forest Caves. The Zephyr Charm is probably extended stamina, probably. I remember last update when the Great Swords were introduced, Fair mentioned something about stamina trinkets being introduced. So the Zephyr Charm would only make sense that it's either stamina or a speed boost. Added the ammo bag and potion bag. Wasn't that already a thing? There's ammo pouch and potion pouch. Maybe these are just bigger pouches. So there's like pouch and now there's bag, which includes more. Because the potion pouches were too small to fit all the potions. So maybe the potion bag gives you the mobility to add, not mobility, but like the access to add so many more potions now. There's like 11 new potions. At 11 new soundtracks, we knew this. And then finally, the changes. Reworked island generation with more natural and interesting shapes. Trial Room's camera will now not be restricted to the room bounds, which was amazing because those spiky trap rooms that you'd see everywhere, you go down to the bottom and then the screen would like, it wouldn't go down anymore, so you wouldn't be able to see what danger was underneath you. Kind of just had to like press F4 to get rid of the GUI and then run through it and then turn the GUI back on, but now it is not restricted. Trial Rooms no longer restrict healing. Interesting. That means you can just like, if you do get hit halfway through, you just heal. Wait the 30 seconds and heal again. Trial Rooms are now more rare until they get updated. Okay, so Trial Rooms haven't been changed for loot-wise yet. I'm assuming that's going to come in the next update then when the gear rework happens. And then Trial Rooms will probably have like more unique loot and things like that. Changes to the trap room slightly to prevent skipping it in co-op. Someone mentioned the other day that you continuously like flick the lever back and forth and the traps don't happen. And then your friend can just like run through everything. So that's now changed, you can't do that. Elders now have a 10% chance to spawn with special names of people showing continued contribution to the game and community. I am excited to see myself in the game. The Elders in-game are now the Elders on the Discord, so it's a Discord role that the Elders have, and probably the moderators and probably the developers too, will all now have the chance to be in the game at a 10% chance. So, I'm throwing this out there, if anyone ever gets a new world and they see Hadex, please screenshot it, send it to me on the Necesse Discord, my Discord down in the description below, or even let me know you've seen it in the YouTube comment, because I really would love to see what stuff you do to an elder called Hadex. Like, do you just give him a little room? Do you make a huge mansion for me? Like, I just want to see what you do with it. Settler's job search range is now by default 100 tile radius instead of 75. We covered that. The max amount of Settler raiders will kill is now based on the difficulty you play on. So before, if you got raided and they killed, say, I think it was like 5 of your settlers, they'd leave. So now if you're playing a brutal mode, they may just kill your entire village. I don't know how it's gonna work. It could be your entire village. It could be like 50%, 80%. I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but I feel like on brutal mode, it would only be fair if they wiped out your entire village if you didn't stop them. So that's going to be crazy. Coin piles can now be destroyed by weapons. Before, you had to mine them. Buff icons have been moved to the top right of the health bar. Rebalance magic with the mana system. Increase the health potion stack size to 100. Perfect, because now you can stack potions. Oh, only health potions stack. Okay. I don't know if it's all potions, but health potions can now go from, I think it was 50 to now 100, doubling the stack size. The alchemist and mage now sell mana potions, which is great. So if you're playing a mage, you're probably going to need a lot of money as well then to maintain mana potions. Uncommon item color is now slightly brighter. Zephyr boots are now crafted at a demonic workstation and are no longer found in forest caves. So now you need the leather dashes, I think they were called, and then you probably have to combine it with the Zephyr trinket at a demonic workstation to get the Zephyr boots, which is really cool because now we're getting combination trinkets. Items now sink slower in lava. It is now possible to plant saplings on farmland. Thank you, because now you can have proper farmland with trees growing in the middle and you don't have to have like a little border around the tree anymore. Reworked and rebalanced the glacial boomerang, allowing it to fire continuously. This was something I came across in my boomerang only playthrough. You'll see it on my channel if you want to see it. But essentially, the boomerang, a glacial boomerang, can be controlled with the first one, and it was allowing you to throw two at once. But if you're controlling the first one, the second one's not getting thrown, so it wasn't really working as intended. Increase the damage of the tungsten boomerang. Probably didn't need a damage boost, but I'm not going to complain about that. That's wicked. Added storage and workstation to settlement buttons now stands more out. Probably now stands out more. Wicked. So now when you're assigning settler storage or settler workstations, you're going to see that button. So it's easy to do that. It is now no longer possible to destroy cattails and water grass with projectiles or other weapons, which is really cool. Because if you had like a dragon lance and you like waved over like a body of water, it'd like farm up everything. And you'd be like, well, now my water looks boring. Where am I up to? You can now open pouches and crafting guides from inside the void pouch and bags. Awesome. Remove the requirement for having less than 3 homeless settlers before recruiting new ones. Now you can have as many homeless as you want, which means if someone was to come to your village and you already had 2 homeless, you couldn't hire any more, but now you can. Hovering over used nearby inventories and crafting will now fade out the heads-up display. So now when you hover over it, the heads-up display goes away, and then you can actually see the radius that the storage is now pulling from, or like the crafting is pulling from that storage. You can now no longer quick place some not fully grown seeds with a new seed. So if you're in like 5 phases or maybe 3 phases of growing wheat, and it's like half grown, you could like before just accidentally place a new one over the top of it. Now it will no longer let you do that. You'll either have to mine it up or build over, wait for it to fully grow, and then build a new one. Plant new seeds. Settlers will now have a harder time getting stuck while being hit by enemies. Your settlers that died now display a death message with a source similar to when players die. That's so cool. So it's going to be like, Jeff the angler has been bitten by a zombie and died. Or something like that. Settlers will now get the buff from the food they eat. We covered that one. Spawn island selection will now avoid nearby pirate islands. Perfect. So you're not going to be like right up next to a pirate island. What happened was people were spawning in, seeing a pirate island, and then getting their butt handed to them from the pirate boss, and then being like, game's too tough, I don't know what to do next. So now the pirate's going to be a little bit further away, encouraging like exploration to that point. Swapped high and higher and lower job priority names. Pouch's content is now counted towards its pawnbroker value. Perfect. I don't know what that means though, but cool. Advanced workstations can no longer be used to craft recipes from the forge. No. All right, now the forge is probably going to be much needed again. You're going to need logs for the forge because the advanced workstation, if you didn't know, acted as a forge that didn't need fuel. Like if you wanted to make iron bars in the advanced workstation, it just used to do it instantly. But now you still need the forge. Unless there's a new one. There could be a new forge item. Torches can now stack up to 500. That is huge. It's 5 times the amount before. I hated having like multiple stacks in my inventory for torches, but now it stacks up to 500. Optimize the game registry dictionaries, making loading, sending packets, etc. much faster. Perfect. I don't know if that fixes the problem. Settlements won't start working until you've been there once you've loaded in. So this may eliminate that. Otherwise, if it doesn't, just remember, if you've got more than one settlement, when you load into the game, do a quick jump between all your settlements and then they'll start working all together. You can now find old vinyl tracks in cave ruin chests. Tall walls now no longer exist. Interesting. They mustn't have been used much. So to save, I don't know, like CPU processing power, they've just got rid of them. Max drop items before they start despawning is now 1,000. So if you dropped I think it was 500 things that start despawning, it is now 1,000, double the amount. Rename the combat regeneration potion to health regeneration potion. Probably not to get confused with mana regeneration potions. Updated a bunch of translations and added some new ones. Thank you to those that are translating. That probably helps the game so much more than I know because I just play in English. But thank you to anyone help translating. Also, thank you to those helping with the wiki as well. Increase the health of deep cave cavelings. So now they're harder to get. There's elusive little things. Rebalance almost all armor, weapons, enemies, and bosses after the Reaper. So all the endgame bosses are now rebalanced. I was going to say harder, but they could be easier. They could be harder. I don't know how it's going to work, but I would love to find out. Controllers can now use scroll bars if needed, and added use mana potion to the controller config. So there's going to be a heal one, and a mana one, and a buff one, which is really nice. Modding, it's now no longer possible to load modded recipes from the recipes.cfg config file. Knockback underscore incoming underscore mod modifier is now multiplicative instead of additive. I'm not a modder, so that's probably going to affect some people. I don't know if it's better or worse, but I'll let you guys deal with that. Fixes. Fixed walls sometimes not rendering their solid background, probably why you got rid of tall walls. Fixed the lightning hammer being able to hit stuff it shouldn't. Fixed destroying ladders, also destroying the object below. Fixed sometimes items being moved to invalid slots when picking up from your corpse. Fixed the vulture hatchling sprite being blurry. I never noticed that, but I guess it's a thing. It's no longer a thing now. Fixed crafting stations sometimes when creating thousands of items. So you used to like put sand in like an alchemy table and then you'd come back, not an alchemy table, in like a furnace or something, you'd come back and there's like 5,000 vials in there and you're like, what the heck? But now that's fixed. Fixed worm enemies sometimes not spawning correctly if you enter a fight after it's started. Perfect. You used to be able to like start the Sage and Grit fight, go up the ladder, wait like 1 second and then go down the ladder, and then Sage would have left, and then you'd only have to fight one of the dragons. So that's now fixed. Fixed some cases where Steam connections would not be possible or not be successful. Fixed individual settler job priority from sometimes not behaving correctly. Perfect. Fixed items in pouches not being counted when trying to craft recipes. I don't know if that's gonna fix the cheeky thing I've been doing for quests is you kill an enemy, get the quest item, put it in a void pouch, and then it would be like, oh, you don't have one of them, so you could kill it and rinse and repeat, and you get like 50 of the same quest item. So that you never had to redo those quests again. You could just hand in those items. There's probably fixed that now. Fix the issue with loading getting stuck on world data if achievements or stats file is corrupt, and other small changes and fixes. So that is the update. There's so much here. There's 2 new biomes, tons of enemies now, 2 new bosses, boss balancing after the Reaper. There's now mana for mage users. There's new summoning outfits, new trinkets. There is so much going on. There's like, Fair is no longer doing this on his own anymore. It is a full team. So I hope all of you are going to enjoy this as much as I do. I will be finishing off my ranged playthrough before any new content comes out regarding this update, but I hope to see you all then. Stick around, subscribe if you haven't, like if you'd like the video, and I shall see you next time. Happy time zones, so that means good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you may be, and I'll see you next time. Bye.